There we go. Hey guys, welcome back to day 2 of my little show where we chat about swimming finals happening in Melbourne. Today I'm joined by 2 guests. We've got Hannah Miley, who in her own right is a world short course champion, among many other things in the swimming pool. Very, very accomplished woman, mainly in the medley events. I think her preferred event would probably be the 400 IM, but I'm speaking for her. Maybe she liked the 100 freestyle. And then we also have Jamie Ingram, a Manchester lad, a very big lad, big imposing lad of a Mohican, who swum at the Commonwealth Games for England this year and is also swimming very, very well in the short course pool at the moment. He just swum a 50.2 in the 100 butterfly, which, where does that rank you now in Britain? Did you check? You must have checked.
This year?
Yeah. No, you're first this year.
This year, yeah.
Fourth Britain all time. So yeah, that was 2 weeks ago in Sheffield. So yeah, we've got a pretty good co-guest today, and we've got some good races as well. I can stick them up at the bottom quickly. What we've got today, final-wise at least, we've got the mixed 4x50 medley, the women's 800, both the 100 backstrokes, and both the 50 flies, as well as semi-finals of the 100 breast and the 100 freestyle. Cool. Okay. If you want to watch along with us, then you can either watch on YouTube or you can go on the Aquatics link, which I've just texted out. It's here. Hannah, what did you think of the 200 IM yesterday?
It was quick. It was actually a lot quicker than what I've seen. Obviously, those top 4 girls were very, very swift. Yeah, really interesting seeing some of the tactics. I mean, Katinka Hoss's world record, I did think was going to be one of those world records that, would be untouched for quite some time. But actually, they're getting very close. It'll be really interesting to see actually how long that world record will stand. But yeah, it was definitely some people in the final that I thought would have made the final, but didn't, like Yui Ohashi. But again, it comes down to whether you're a short course specialist or not. It's almost like a completely different event or almost a different race. The 200 IM is very much like 100 IM. It's a very, very sprint orientated. But yeah, very interesting. Good setup for the 100 IM. Some of them, I don't think all of them will be in the 400 IM because again, that's a bit of a longer distance. But yeah, definitely didn't expect the 202. That was very quick.
Yeah. What was your fastest 200 IM, Hannah?
206, I think. It was a while since I swam it. And I think it was actually at World Short Course. My best time was done, I think, about 10 years ago. 10 years actually this month. So, yeah, I think it was about a 206. So I always struggled with it. It just was too short. By the time I was just getting into it, it was finished. And then 100 IM was even worse.
100 IM is a pure sprint event. It's funny you mentioned Yui, but Yui was actually going into that race the second fastest of all time in the short course meters with a 2:03.9, and then obviously the top 3 in that race all went quicker than that. But it's just as with everything in swimming, it's peaking and how good your form is right now and stuff like that. But I've got us walking out. I've got GB walking out right now. We've got Mehdi, Adam, Ben, and Anna walking out for the 4x50 medley relay.
Same team was this morning, isn't it?
So, yeah. How are we looking here, guys?
I mean, it should be...
I think looking all right.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to be interested in what Ben splits, because he was 22.4 this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he's been 22.1, hasn't he, in a flat start?
Yeah, that was in the ISL final last year. He didn't swim the 50 fly. He didn't swim the 50 fly yesterday. I spoke to James, and James was like, me and Marco got up or stayed up to watch the 50 fly heat, and we were just like, oh, there's no Ben. And they'd left it that he was going to just get the feelers out with either this race, the medley relay, or with the 50 fly individual. So obviously he's chose to give this a bash instead. But
right, I'm in the water, so I'll pause it and wait for you to.
I'll tell you when they jump in, and you can play, I guess. So yeah, what do you think? The US team's pretty good. Ryan Murphy, Nick Fink, Kate Douglas, who won the 200 IM yesterday on the fly, split a 24.3 this morning, and Tori Husk. And I presume the Canadian team's pretty good. Down in lane 8, Mass, Avocado, Ilya Karun, and Maggie McNeil. a pretty serious team right there. We're in the water now.
Cool.
Hannah, you in the water?
Yep. I'm at the same time as you, I think.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, who are starting with men? That's always a big. GB are going to have a woman start, which always puts you behind a little bit. Where Medi against Ryan Murphy right now, and the Italians, I think, have the Italians are going men as well, so they're out there in the front as well. They're not using Thomas Chicon, which is kind of interesting. You'd presume they'd have gone with the 100 backstroke world record holder, but they've gone with.
He's probably resting for 100 free later.
Ryan Murphy just went 22.37, which I think is the third fastest time of all time, just behind 22.2 from Florent Manodou and 22.1 now from Clem Klesnikov. So that was a very fast first 50 from Ryan Murphy there. Handing over to Nick Fink. This American team could be pretty hard to stop. I don't think Italian have the women to keep up.
Pretty front-loaded in it as well, that.
So this is Kate Douglas now, who went that 202.1 in the 200 IM. She's also apparently pretty good at 50 fly. She was on the 100 freestyle relay yesterday, split a 51.1.
Is she tall?
She's just really good, I think. She swims 200 breast, the fastest ever in yards.
She looks fucking massive. When she's...
So GB now have Anna Hopkin. I don't think she's going to get through to third. We're sitting in roughly fourth. Yeah, I think it's going to be Germany in bronze position, which is pretty interesting. I can't remember Germany getting a medal for a while now. It's a massive world record as well. Netherlands stopped Germany getting the medal. I spoke too soon. No medal for Germany, and I think fifth there for GB. 5th or 6th.
It's interesting because apparently it's 8 degrees on poolside. I do wonder how much of an impact that's going to have with a lot of the swimmers, because that's quite fresh.
Well, you've signed this pool, right, in the Commonwealth Games in 2006. So what's it
in
like?
the evenings it was cold.
It was cold, yeah.
Yeah, it was like outdoors but in. So you just have the canopy that sits over the top. So the outsides are pretty open to the elements. So any breeze or any wind that comes through, you do feel it. And I just remember, the Commonwealth Games were in March, and we specifically had to go out and get parkas in the evenings because it was very cold. And that's for Scots to wear parkas. So yeah, you can certainly feel it coming through. And just having a look at the weather that you kind of posted through, it does look like it's going to be a bit grim, but it's the same across the board for all athletes. They're all in that, and you can see the big open space at the sides.
There you go. Someone's raced there when it was 44 degrees, and apparently that wasn't great either. This should be Australian summer, right? Like December, we should be at the heat of Australia, and you can see everyone bundled up on poolside. It's clearly freezing.
Looking with a hat and gloves on. So if the pools, if the air temperature is 44 degrees, do they have someone in place that cools the pool down, to keep it at that 27 degrees, whatever, the 26, where it's meant to race at, or do they just let it, whatever it is?
FINA regulations, is it like 24 degrees? I think it's the lowest you can go with it. And I only remember that because Delhi at one point was 23 degrees and it very nearly didn't happen because of that. Yeah. But I think, ideally they want to keep it at 27 degrees. But if the air temperature is colder, it might end up keeping the pool temperature warmer, but then it might drop a little bit lower. I don't know. They'll have regulations or pumps to sort that out.
Yeah, I don't know. I know one was in South Africa this year. The pool wasn't heated, and every day it got a bit colder, and by the end it was 22 degrees.
Not fun.
But South Africa, anything goes. They're not looking for FINA regulations. They're just, they just swim. They don't question anything either. They're like, this is all right. The water's warm, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's not all right. So I think we've got the women's 800 freestyle next. I've got the slow, I say slow heats, they're called the slowest heats. So I'm not being derogatory. But we had an 825 this morning, which I don't think is good enough to really feature as we go into this final heat, I would assume.
And someone else just a 100th behind.
There we go. Wow, it was a nail biter. Look, lanes 3 and 4, 100th separating them.
Exciting.
Between the Japanese girl and the Brazilian girl. Yeah, again, not that crazy swims. 825. It'll probably take, I don't know, something under 810 to win. You'd hope, wouldn't you, Hannah?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Lani Pallister had a really, strong swim with the 400, but Leah Smith has, got a bit more competition experience under her belt. I mean, world record of 7:57. Whether we see anybody get close to the 8-minute mark, it'd be very, very close. But should be looking at quite a couple of times, especially the middle two being sub 8:10.
Yeah, I mean, what did Ledecky go when she swam it? Obviously, was treated to Katie Ledecky swimming the 800 free at the World Cup in Indianapolis. She was 7:57, if I recall correctly. Which broke a big competitor of yours, Hannah, in Maria Belmonte's world record. Someone you probably raced short course quite a bit.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it was incredible. She split the 400 at 3:56, which is really quick on its own. So, she's just incredible. And it gets and swims. It's like, right, it's Ledecky time. How fast is she going to go? But whether we'll see that level of speed, I'm not 100% sure, but I still think it'll be a really good race. Definitely, Lani Pallister and Leah Smith will certainly be the two kind of hot favorites in my books.
Yeah. Lani looked really good yesterday in the 400. Leah was okay. She's not, she's more 800 right than the 400, so it makes sense that this is probably going to be more her sweet spot. I just kind of feel like if Lani moves, towards the front and moves away, I don't know if Leah will have enough to catch up. She might be more consistent in her splits, but she's not a Bobby Fink, right? She's not going to have a big kick at the end and do something outrageous, would be my guess. But I've seen crazier things.
Yeah,
you got Erica Fairweather. Sorry.
Go on. Sorry, just
no. On you go. I'm terrible for talking over. I was just going to say you got Erica Fairweather out in lane 7. I think again she could be one to watch out for, especially being in the outside lanes, because again her 400 was very good, and she had a really good performance at Commonwealth as well. So it could be interesting for her to kind of see if she can make that drop.
Jamie?
No, I was just going to say when it came up on the screen earlier as well, two DQs in that medley.
Oh yeah, sorry, I've just put the splits up.
Yeah,
Netherlands,
so we were 4th.
We got by 0.2 as well. Netherlands and Germany getting disqualified, which meant GB were bumped up to 4th, just 0.2 off the Canadian team. I think probably the most outrageous split I can see was either Ryan Murphy or Kate Douglas going 24-0 for 50 butterfly, which was almost as quick as the Italian woman split.
Yeah, but what about Ilya Karun? Is that a 0.9 reaction time and then going 22-1?
Yes.
0.9. God, that's the safest takeover of all. Well, he lost the swim off this morning. He was 22-8, world junior record in the swim off against the Estonian lad. And
he was the same as his semi, wasn't he? Time.
Yeah. So 22-1. That's insane. God, if the Canadian team had just done some relay takeover practice, they might have not won that race, but definitely maybe moved up to silver. 0.9.
Bloody hell.
Also, Nick was 24.
He was a bit nervous.
Martineggi was 24. They're quick. 2 24s on breaststrokes there by men. Petey was 25-2. Ben was 21-9.
21-9's good.
Anna was 23-3. That's good as well. That's some good splits in there. That's not a slow race by any stretch there, right? And the women are off. Sorry, distracting from the actual race at hand. The thing, obviously, you mentioned with Erica Fairweather being in lane 7 is that there's no heats here. So this is a heat declared winner. So this is just the fastest heat on paper. So people in this race could be really, really unfit and slow, and they could be way better than the times we're seeing them entered on. So, Erica could surprise everyone, win by a country mile, and it wouldn't be that much of a surprise, I guess. And apparently she'll be chasing Lauren Boyle's national record from when she broke the world record in the 0.9 meter deep Wellington Aquatic Centre. That's a fun fact.
Wow.
My arms would be scraping on the bottom of that.
Cool. So 57.
Why are they doing it just heat and not a heat and final? They just not be asked.
I think it's the scheduling. I think because the competition will probably end up being a lot longer, having to fit, because they normally do a day in between. So you have heats one day and then the finals are the following night. And I think just with how compressed the program is already, it possibly would have made the competition longer than it needed to be.
That's probably similar then with the 200s as well. No
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 6-day meet in opposed to, what would the world champs be? 8 days, right, Hannah? Or is it 9 days?
Yeah.
8 days. It's 2 days left.
Yeah. I feel like every cycle it seems to add an extra day because they add in more relays and lots of different events.
Did Tokyo add a day? Tokyo added a day, right?
Yes.
Tokyo was 9 instead of 8. Yeah. Tokyo was 9 instead of 8. So this is 3 days less than like the Olympics, and probably on paper more events because you have 4x50 mixed, 4x50 not mixed. So that's 3 extra relays to any other meet. There's mixed everything here. So this is probably the biggest competition schedule with the least days. So you have to... Did you feel that when you were swimming it, Hannah, compared to other meets? Did it feel quick and more grueling, or did it feel less? But I mean...
Kind of varied depending on what events you had on. With being the 400 IM, if the competition was such that the 400 IM was on day one, like the Olympics, it's great because it didn't feel as long. But oh my God, when the 400 IM, whoever thinks it's a good idea sticking a 400 IM on the very last day at Worlds, it's a pain in the arse. It's a nightmare. That made it feel like it dragged quite a fair bit. Short course wise, it does feel like it goes a lot quicker short course. I don't know why. I mean, technically, I guess it is a shorter event, but it does get through the heats and finals pretty quickly. And I guess short course is kind of more exciting to watch in a sense of people don't swim short course as often. So you get a lot of maybe shock swims or surprising swims, and it keeps everyone on their toes.
I think I had that a lot of the World Cups this year, with them being in North America, they haven't been for a little while, and the people then racing that they haven't raced meters before, like the Americans, and suddenly you got like heat 1 and heat 2 putting times that are making finals. It makes it a bit interesting.
I love watching their reaction when they finish, because half the time they're like, "Is that good?" And you're like, "Yeah, you've just broken the world record." Coming up to the 400 part now, I think, for Pallister. 4 minutes.
400. 400 is not slow, is it? It's not slow at all.
That's good.
Yeah, this is kind of what I thought. I don't think Leah Smith's going to be able to move back to a gold contention here. I think she's playing around for that bronze medal, and I think she might be able to outswim the other 2 girls that are neck and neck with her. Erica Fairweather's having a great crack, right? Seems to be on her own for second.
Yeah, she's doing really well. Be interesting to see if Lani can actually negative split this and get under the 8-minute mark.
I mean, would you, if you was to swim an 800, would you be looking to do an even or a negative split like that? It's not out of this question to be, negative split here, right?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of good 800s freestylers try and keep it as even paced as possible, with the intent for the second half to be quicker than the first half. For some individuals, it can be even, and for some individuals, if you do take it out very, very hard at the first half, the second half, it's just a matter of clinging on. But I think you just find that rhythm and that groove, and you just find that stroke efficiency where you can just keep ticking over. And especially if you get swimmers that don't use their legs as much, as soon as you bring the legs in for especially the last 200, It can really make a big difference.
Yeah, Lani looks like she's really eased off or not doing anything with her legs, very much like Jazz used to swim, or if you watch Gregorio yesterday in the 15, which just makes a huge difference when they kick. I think with these sorts of races, I mean, this looks almost like it's turned into a time trial for Lani, to be honest. But when it comes to like a Worlds for an 8 or a 15, it becomes a little bit more like athletics, where it's just about winning the race, in opposed to the shorter events where you kind of can't really judge based on, is so and so going to go out faster 25? I'm going to sit off them. So that sometimes maybe affects the times. I mean, I don't think it's doing so here, but how often would you say swimming a 4 a.m. think about how you're going to pace it versus
who you're racing against?
Just racing the other girls, and if I can beat them to the backstroke or to the breaststroke, I'll be all right. I'll win and whatnot.
I mean, every time you get in, you want to try and improve or get close to your time, especially with it being a world champs. Like you want to put in. A lot of these athletes will probably have tapered or had some form of rest coming into it. It's you kind of make that call, I think, once you see the scoreboard. Once you've had that initial knee-jerk reaction of how you felt at the end of it, you then can process whether you're happy with your time based on the circumstances or not. You do kind of fall into the sort of bracket of, right, I base my performance on how my time was. Okay, my time wasn't great, but I actually still did better than I thought position-wise, so maybe that's not too bad. I reckon Lani will be looking at a time here. It does very much seem that she's just out on her own, and she doesn't look like she's slacking off. So I think she will be trying to go for a solid or a decent time anyway. It does. It varies from athlete to athlete, and depending where they are within their training cycle and what they're focusing on. Some athletes will just swim through short course. It's just another race experience, race exposure, bit of travel. Learn a little bit more about the competitors and about themselves, but it's not the be all end all. And then for some, they purely come out for short course only. It just depends, I think, on what their preference, whether it's long course or short course.
Well, a PB or entry time at least was 8:07. She's turned with 50 to go. It's going to be quicker than that.
Yeah, you're going to smash that.
Yeah.
The legs have come in now, and it looks like a really good swim. It should be around, what do you reckon, 8:03 here? 8:04 maybe?
8:05.
8:040.
Jamie the spoiler. He's clairvoyant.
Hang on. Well, yes.
Clairvoyant, or he's ahead of us. One of the two.
Leah just missing out on the medals there as well.
Yeah, Leah's someone who's been around for ages, and I don't know, she seems to go up and down quite. I don't want to say drastically, but sometimes she's like, contending to be the best, with the exception of people like Ledecky, and sometimes she's a little bit off the podium. I mean, it's still not a bad crack, is it? 4th or 5th in a world final. So not taking anything away from it, but sometimes she looks like she really could be the best. But she's been around a while, right?
Yeah, her strength is definitely in the long course pool. And as you get older, it does get harder to swim closer and more frequently on your best time. So it kind of becomes more specific when you hit those target times. And sometimes it's just a matter of swimming through. I had one of my best breakout years, the season 2013 into 2014. And I was just getting my arse handed to me every time I raced from 2013 into the summer of 2014. And time was just very average. And then once the Commonwealth Games in 2014 happened, I had so many really improved times, and it was just almost like I needed that whole year of just getting absolutely slaughtered to actually then break through. Whereas you kind of miss the days of being a teenager where it's like, I've swum 15 seconds off my PB, or you just suddenly you don't get those frequent improvements all the time. It becomes a bit more narrow and specific, so you have to make sure you swim in the right pool at the right time, because there's no point in swimming a really quick swim in January if you're not then going to back it up in the summer.
Yeah, that's what was quite good with Matt Sates yesterday, wasn't it? Him doing it now rather than like he did last year when he was Main Nostrum and World Cups. He was mint, wasn't he? And then not great in the summer.
Yeah, look, I kind of get all ways of tackling it, because I spent a lot of time with Matt, and he was, Main Nostrum, he was shaved. Like, he was shaved. Yeah. I mean, he's 18. Was he rested? I mean, you're splitting hairs when you talk about him resting. He doesn't really rest like, he's a 400 freestyler. He's not having some massive drop where he does 2K sessions and, does what Dylan Carter was doing before world champs.
Yeah.
But he was shaved and he was there to make money, like he's paying for his ticket to all them countries. He's paying for his hotel in Monaco. And, he knows if he wins everything, which he did at Mare Nostrum, he's paying for everything plus more.
Yeah,
but, in the same thing as Hannah just said, then that limits your sort of growth towards the end of the season. And that's why he ended up ultimately, along with, pressure, swum slower at the Commonwealth Games. But I don't know. He didn't swim as great at the World Cups this year, and he clearly he's got it right here. So it's great to see. And
you think that's something he'll maybe do similar again going into the summer? Like it won't be as fresh. Like still probably swimming fast, but not as crazy.
I think if he learns, then that's something that you probably have to think about. I mean, I'm all for people trying to swim fast all year round. And I think sprinters can do a good job of swimming fast all year round, and their program can, accommodate that. It's harder when you talk about the events that Matt's swimming, Hannah was swimming. You can't just be on fire every weekend, because then you're not just training at any point. Like I'm sure Hannah would like to have been, 4:23 every time she dived in the pool, but unfortunately, what would you be doing training to be doing that? So
yeah, you do. You need that foundation of work and that background. And I mean, there's a certain degree, I guess, of that sort of URSPT type style training, but it can only last for so long. Like for the longer distance events, you need that endurance buildup. You need that aerobic capacity. And yeah, that's why sometimes the longer distance events aren't as enticing or as fun, because there is a bit of boring hard yards behind it.
So we're into the women's 100 freestyle now. First semi's walking out. We've got, it was pedestrian from the top girls, I think, this morning. 52.0 fastest qualifier, 52.2 second. I mean, none of these girls are really firing. Siobhan and Emma 1 and 2 there. We saw Anna Hopkin go a PB of 51.8 yesterday, leading off the relay, which is just off of the British record of 51.1. I say just off, it's quite a bit off, from Fran. Some time back now. I think outside people to watch out for, probably Cassia Wasick, who went a 23.1 earlier this year in the 50. Taylor Ruck was a great, she was very young. She was absolutely on the top of the world about 2-3 years ago. Had a bit of a harder time recently, but seems to be bouncing, back to that best form. Beryl Gastadello, another super speedy girl.
Have many of these girls now been in that mixed medley relay? Do you know? Anna was in it, wasn't she?
Tori Husk
was, yeah.
I mean, I don't feel this is, just my take on knowing some of these girls, but the sprint girls don't take doing back-to-back races near as difficult as us sprint guys do, Jamie.
Yeah,
we'd do a 50 and 20 minutes later have to do 100 and be like, oh, no, this is bad news. But these girls just, they just keep going. Especially when you think about, some of these girls do a lot longer races. Siobhan's got, 200 freestyle background. So is that Merritt Steenberg. Anna Hopkins, a bit more pure sprint, to be fair.
Yeah, and she looks like it now.
This is sad, considering she was so good yesterday. It doesn't look like she's a factor at all here.
She's struggling.
I don't think Anna's going to get a third swim here.
No.
It's not. I mean, just to think, at the time she went yesterday with a joint first in that race, it still was fairly pedestrian. 51.8. It's going to take a 50 point or better to win tomorrow. And we've got the much faster heat coming up. We've got Siobhan, who's defending world champion, and obviously Emma McKeon. Thoughts on that yesterday, guys?
That was just unreal.
Yeah, crazy. What's the next fastest split after her?
So the world record is 50.2 by Kate Campbell, and I think Kate split. I think 50.3 was. I think I read. Hannah, did you find out? I think 50.3 was the next best split, but
yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, because the American girl was still 51, wasn't she? And she just battered her.
I've never seen someone who go 51.8 look like they're doing something wrong. It was like. I thought she was going to have split 55 or something and absolutely like had a stinker. And then I was like, she went 51.8. And like, what? Like, sorry, how can you go 51.8 and get destroyed? Like, she started with the lead and ended up not even in the same plane.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was just crazy.
I think 50.2 is still better than 49.9, but 49.9 sounds way better.
Yeah, 49 sounds fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds very fast.
Yeah. So, Jamie, off topic to the 100 freestyle, would you like to have been at this meet if British Swimming would have given you the opportunity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, yeah. I've never swum for Britain, so that would, yeah. Any time they said, "Do you want to swim it?" I'd have been, yeah, straight on it. And I don't get it. So I look back over that selection policy today. They've only taken 11, haven't they, on this team? Yep. They could have taken up to 16, which means they've budgeted for 16, haven't they? Like, they've got the money for 16 people to go, but to only take 11. But then in September we had like the national relay camps, and the talking there about like how the importance of relays in Paris is going to be, and they want everyone swimming fast in these relays, and that's going to be quite a big factor in like the selection. But I don't get then why you wouldn't take me or like a Barrett or Matt Richards or someone, because there's no men's 4x1 freestyle team, no medley team. There's no women's 4x2 today, is there? I don't. No. It just seems to be at odds, doesn't it? That they.
It's like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and the same, you know, when you were doing that prediction show, Sonny, with and then Tom Shields came on and was talking about that American thing about how they were saying the more experience you've got internationally, the more likely you are to win that Olympic medal. Again, that it just seems like, why wouldn't you, if you've got 5 spots left, why wouldn't you take people that have got an outside chance of that relay team in a year and a half?
Absolutely.
Especially because they've already got a list of people they think could make it, because that's who's on these relay camps. Yeah. There's probably like 25 men, 25 women.
Emma's got right after this. Emma's turned an 11.7, and it looks like she's not messing around. She's put almost a body length on Siobhan on the first 25. Siobhan will come back nicely. Siobhan won't be under threat or anything here. But 24.6, I mean, it's not massively fast. It's 0.4 off the world record split. It'll be 50 point, I think. I don't think it's going to be 49 or anything. She looks really good here.
It's powerful there.
She does. Siobhan's underwaters, though, on this turn, I think will be interesting. Like, that's one of the things that Siobhan really has nailed down. Her underwater work is just incredible.
Yeah, Siobhan's come through really nicely here. We'll take second. Having spoken to Siobhan, I think Siobhan's more interested. Like, she's just super channeled in on the 200 freestyle at the moment, to a point where, like, Tom was like, I had a reminder that she had the 100, because the 200 was first last time at World Short Course. They've changed the program. And yeah. I think that's just, her head is on up 200 freestyle. You know, she's that's her race, and you know, I think she'll be competitive come to the 100 tomorrow. I remember last year she come out to semi and was like, that was really hard, and it was about the same time as that, and then she dropped like a second in the final. So, you know, hopefully she'll be more competitive. I'm biased to Siobhan. I want Siobhan to win, but
she's like a swim fast when it matters swimmer, isn't she?
She is. She's good. But 51.2, I mean, what do you reckon? Did you reckon Emma eased off there because she knew she could? Or
yeah,
probably as well, just being in that race.
Yeah. just doing enough. You got another swim tomorrow. I think it would just be a matter of just conserve. There's no point just absolutely nailing it now because she'll be called upon for other relays. So it's just biding her time for being specific when she's going to fire in all the cylinders.
Yeah, that looks to be the case. The top three in that second semi-final there, the top three were all quicker than the winner of the first semi-final. So it was, as we expected, a much quicker semi-final. Still, nothing crazy, no 50 points just yet.
It was all probably from them top girls as well. It's probably all fairly calm swims, isn't it? Get some emotion behind it.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see the world record be challenged in the final?
Nah, I don't think so.
No, I'm with Jamie. I mean, 49.9 is amazing, but with it's anywhere between 50.4 and 50.7 probably in reality, isn't it? Going back to what you were saying, Jamie, though, would you have paid your own way to go to Worlds if it was an option?
To be fair, probably, yeah, because I was in Hawaii anyway, so I was already sort of over that side of the world. Have that opportunity just to go and race.
Yeah,
you're
right. So men's 100 freestyle, probably not a shock, but the biggest talking point this morning was the Cayman Islands' Jordan Crooks going 45.6. It wasn't only his first sub 46 swim, but it was his first sub 49 second 100 freestyle. But if you, he was in heat 6 out of 11 heats, so he wasn't seeded heat. But if you follow NCAA swimming, he's the fastest in the 100 right now. He's the second fastest ever in the 50 behind Dressel, 18.2 in yards. I know Jamie's swum some yards recently, so he probably knows 18.2 is moving. And this is his first short course meet in a while. So, Jordan Crooks is the biggest talking point. And then obviously we've got the two GB boys in Tom Dean and Lewis Burrows. David Popovich, obviously needs no explaining these days, is in fourth in a new PB.
So that was quite good when you look at the front ends of everyone. So everyone to 50, everyone around Popovich there is 21 high, 22 low. He's just 22.4.
Yeah.
And then coming back, whatever that is, fast. 23
coming back fast. Oh, brilliant. Coming back fast. There he is, Popovich.
He's a master degree as well.
Yeah. Here we go. This Gruesome lad, have you raced him, Jamie? He's a real big unit.
No, I've not
passed him. He's like a flow kind of imposing guy. He's just monster. This Maxime Gruesome.
I've seen Manado in person once. We did the Amsterdam meet a few years ago, and I stood behind him. He just looked enormous. I look up and his shoulders are out here. Yeah, monster of a man.
Guys, leave in the comments if Popovich is going to win this 100 freestyle tomorrow. That's what I want to know. Who thinks Popovich is going to win it? Sorry, Jamie. No. You're also a monster of a man. Just to clarify, you are a big, big boy.
Yeah, well, Manadu's still, I know, probably 5 to 10 kilos heavier than me, isn't he?
Yeah. He's about 110. All right, so Popovich still not in the lead. It's Maxime Gruesome at this point.
Gruesome looks good there,
Popovich is in second. Will he swim past him? I mean, it doesn't look like he's going to.
Oh, wow.
Yusuf Ramadan from Egypt in third. 45.5. 45.8 for David Popovich there.
Junior record as well.
Junior record, yeah.
There we go. I can vouch that Jamie is a big boy. There it is.
Thanks,
Toby. It's official.
Yeah, it makes a massive difference to these sprinters. Massive momentum.
We've got all shapes and sizes here. We've got Hannah, who's not the biggest sprint woman of all time.
The size of one of their legs. Oh dear.
Yeah, we had Adam Barrett on talking yesterday, and when you think about it, we've got a really good opportunity for a men's 4x100 freestyle relay. And, I know long course is the more important thing, but if you're talking about exposure for them 4 boys or 4 to 6 boys, 4 to 8 boys coming together and getting opportunities to race, then this is like no other, really. And it's a little bit less pressure as well. But, you talk about Tom Dean, Lewis Burrows now, Matt Richards going 45.8 the other week. You was in that race, Jamie, with him.
I got fucking annihilated.
Duncan, of course. We know Duncan.
Yeah, Duncan. You got like Barrett was 46.3, wasn't he, last year?
So I don't know.
A very good team that would have competed well yesterday.
Yeah,
especially in that moment.
So I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a missed opportunity, and it'd
be interesting as well. I think if we knew who got selected but didn't want to go.
Yeah, decline the opportunity.
Yeah, because Tom, I don't know if you've listened to Tom Dean's does a podcast as well, and he was talking about Dave McNulty didn't want him to do short course worlds. So it makes you think who else didn't want to be there.
I mean, if they had 16 spots, you'd think at least. How good is Lewis Burrows' walkout? He's brilliant. It's just it never gets old. Arms behind the back, hood up. He just loves it. He loves it.
So fascinating watching like the posturing in sprint events. I've always found it hugely fascinating, just the different personality types, and it's a bit like peacocking. It's like, a little bit of showboating, who can intimidate, and not just these guys are absolutely massive and big. It's like there's different ways of intimidation. It's it's really, really cool.
Yeah, check on coming out in gloves but no trousers.
Honestly, why would you come out without trousers on? It's like 101 of swimming. Wear a parka, wear clothes, keep yourself warm. I mean, it's like, I've got my gloves, but
you're losing a lot more for some exposed legs.
Chalmers looks pretty composed on his walkout. That was a bit more.
So he looks fired up. Jordan Crooks now.
Cool. We look at Jordan Crooks' picture. He looks about 12 in it. I think he legitimately is 12 in that picture.
Who's winning this semi?
I think Crooks. I think Crooks is going to do it. I think this guy's serious.
Oh well, I'll
say Chalmers though. Yeah, I agree. I'd say Chalmers. I think Chalmers will play around a little bit. I think he'll do just enough just to try and pip him. But yeah, Jordan's like the new kid on the block, so he's very much an unknown, I think, to international guys.
If I'm not mistaken, Crooks did go into the NCAAs last year as fastest seed, and he didn't win. I don't know if he's actually won anything of serious note yet, and that's always a factor, I think. I'm not saying it means he can't. Someone always has to do it for the first time. But his underwaters are unbelievable.
Bloody hell.
10-2 to the 25, just ahead of Chalmers.
Oh
my God, did you see that turn? Oh my God. His stroke rate is low as well. He's efficient. Like he just looks really big and lopey.
It's just all underwater. Like his turns are incredible.
Has he got the last turn? 33.6 to the 75. I think he's got the last. Yeah.
He's dropping off a bit.
Moressi's catching him up. I think he might just get the touch.
45.5. He gets it. 45.6 Chalmers.
Nice.
Take that back. It wasn't Chalmers.
It wasn't Chalmers. I still think Chalmers has got more there, surely.
Yeah, you'd think so. Chalmers talked a lot about wanting to win this. Kyle, he said he's not won the world short course title and he wants to, which is understandable. I mean, that's kind of the thing with this meet is why would you not want to? And in all seriousness, Hannah, do you look back and do you look at any medals being more valuable than any? Like, you know, you've got a world title, you've got a European title, you've got short course, long course. You know, is that one you look back and you're really proud of? I mean, you beat one of the best swimmers of all time in Katinka Hosu to win that title. So it's like, surely you've got to look back on that race.
Yeah, it felt quite cool knowing that I could beat an Olympic champion in the same year of the Olympic Games. That for me, it does hold a lot of value in that sort of sense. And yeah, it's personal. And you know, if Kyle feels that this is the one that he wants to win and holds high value for it, then yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And there are some medals that I've got that definitely. I mean, all medals are precious and have memories, but there are some that you do rank higher than others.
Go on, what's number one?
It's between two. So world silver in 2011, because it was long course, and for me to be on the podium for a long course event and that was the first time as well. It was really, really cool. And actually Commonwealth Games in 2014, and I kind of overcame a lot of self-doubt and a really shitty year. Like it was awful going into it, like competing. I was just getting my arse kicked every single time, and I was 24, about to turn 25, was kind of being told you're on your way out, you know, you're too old sort of thing. And then to actually, you know, not stick two fingers up, but actually prove a lot of people wrong and prove myself that, you know, I could still do it. And I ended up doing a lot of PBs in that event, like competition as well, and home soil. Yeah, there was just so many cool things attached to that medal. So those two are kind of up there. And then the third one would be the world gold in 2012. So
I think having that Commies as a home games then made that easier to find that drop you've been waiting for.
It made it harder. The amount of pressure I was under was huge. Because they changed the program. The 400 IM was normally on the last day, and they changed it to the very first day, and it was the very first event, and I was the first heat. So the expectation of you're going to kick off Team Scotland to a great start, and you know you're going to bring back the gold. You did it in Delhi, so you can do it in Glasgow. It's fine. And I was like, it's not fine. It's really, really not fine. And also on top of that, my coach hadn't been selected for the team as well, so I was like, I've got all this pressure and expectation. And I just felt very much out of my depth. But actually, you know, it did. It came to fruition here in the crowd. That helped. That helped massively. But it came with an awful lot of pressure, more so than I anticipated. And having done London, you know, there was pressure with that. So I had a bit of experience with it. But yeah, it kind of, I had to change my race plan. I literally decided to change it as I was walking behind the podium. Normally I'm known for holding back a little bit on fly and kind of coming through in breaststroke and freestyle, but I actually decided to just go for broke on the first 100, and I think it was only like 0.2 off my 100 fly individual PB, which is slightly suicidal in a 400 IM, but I just thought, why not go for it? And I thought, right, I've got to be ahead of Amy when it comes to the freestyle leg. And I remember turning from breaststroke into free, and all I could see was Amy's feet. And I thought, crap. But as soon as I turned with 50 to go, I heard the crowd underwater, and yeah, just carried me home. And that moment, that was the time I really appreciated the crowd. It just, yeah, it was very, very cool, but very hard.
Yeah, that was quite looking back, quite a pressureful meet, because that was like Michael Jameson had like his face everywhere, right? And off the back of an Olympic medal, and I can't speak for him, but it didn't seem like he ever really recovered from that meet. Sadly,
he was injured as well. Like I think he had the expectation of, he was desperate to go after this world record, and I think, you know, he just pushed and pushed and pushed, and it was almost like his body was just telling him, hang on, rest, recover. And he's just such an intense individual, in a sense that he will put, you know, he gives it his all. Like there's no half-assed efforts with him, and he's very meticulous in what he did. And as well, I feel like the media were a little bit harsh. You know, it wasn't so much they celebrated Ross, but it was Michael failed. He's like, he didn't fail. He was still on the podium, and you know, he's still an Olympic silver medalist. But yeah, the media.
BBC leading up to that about him doing this interview, talking about world record being his alarm clock, didn't he? And then Yeah, and then to not win it,
Yeah.
not get that world record. Yeah,
It's hard. Some athletes are really good at when they talk about how they're feeling, what they're targeting, and they can cope with the pressure, whether it goes well or not. Whereas some athletes, like I was one of them, where I try not give away what I was planning because I didn't want the fallback of, well, if I don't do it, I don't want then I don't want the media to then suddenly come up with articles of saying I failed or, this, that, and the other. It's a bit of a minefield.
What's this? Oh, what's your favourite medal for design of the medal? Go on, Jamie. What's your favourite medal design?
Commonwealth Games, this most recent one. It's my only good medal, to be honest. So it's, but no, it's cool, that one, because they've got all like different lines on it, and it's designed to look like something significant. I can't really remember what, but it was.
It's got lines on it, and I think it's significant.
Oh, it was something. I was more happy to win it rather than pay attention to the story behind it. But yeah, that one.
Anna, best medal design.
I quite like the European Championships from 2018. The triangle, the upside down triangle, just because it's different. All medals are circle. So it was nice that it was a medal that wasn't circular. I thought it was quite a nifty design.
Go on, Sonny.
I don't even know. I've not won a medal in ages. Cool.
I remember when I was a kid, there was some local meet in Derby that gave like glass block. It was like a glass cube with a like a swimmer inside, and then it had like a plaque with the event on, and then the place. I always thought that was dead cool.
I was thinking something similar to that. Something I always really liked was something that actually had the event on it, because no medals ever had the event. They always you go to age group meets and you just get 8 medals of just nothing, and then I don't know, you get to a certain level and or you get a sticker on, which is like cheating. But if you actually have it engraved, like this is the silver medal in the 50 freestyle, I don't know, it just has a little bit more significance.
Greg Butler's dad does that. Goes to meets with his engraving kit. No, with his actual engraving kit, and then when you win your race, you can take your medal to him, and he'll put the event on. Yeah, it was a bit cooler.
That's very cool.
Good on Greg Butler's dad. Just watch that relay replay. Tori Husk goes so deep out that turn on the last turn on the freestyle leg. Like, she proper went under the waves.
It's like a tick. It's like you go down to then come back up.
Super, super deep turn. Yeah. What's next? We got some more swimming coming up. We got the women's 100 backstroke final. Let's bring up the start list. I just like playing around with the software, and I can present things. Present your computer. Start list. Then it uploads, processes, and then add to stream. There it is. Women's 100 back. We got Isabel Staden. She was a late entry. So Ryan White, who won the 200 back last year, pulled out last minute, and Isabel Staden got put into this event, the 100 backstroke, and here she is in the final. Kylie Mass, Claire Curzon, she's one of them girls that can do it all. Molly O'Callaghan, the 100 freestyler, obviously swims for Dean Boxall in Australia, and she's known for even splitting 100 freestyles. I'm pretty sure she went 52 long course, going 26.3, 26.3 or something ridiculous. Ingrid Vilm, who's 6'4" Canadian girl. Louise Hansen trains at Loughborough.
Also
Kaylee
massive.
McEwen, 200 backstroke world record holder, and Kira Toussaint, who is the speedy girl, the 25 swimmer.
Who broke her fingers, didn't she? Semi recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Who are we calling?
I'm going to be controversial and actually say Ingrid.
Oh, I'd like to see Ingrid. I'd like to see Ingrid win. I go on well with Coach Dave. He's a good guy, and I don't know. She's not in like the national centres or anything. It's quite cool to see her doing so well from like a club program in Canada.
Yeah, her and I think it was Yuri Kissel went to Hawaii after I'd left. They did a week in Hawaii, like to break up that journey. I think they all got on with her there.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm calling Claire Curzon. I think she's rapid.
I'll go Hansen. Defend the title.
Yeah. So it's always a good bet.
Yeah.
It was 55-2 to win last year. Obviously, the world record's 54-8. No one quicker than 55-8 so far. So it's been, again, could be some big drops here needed to secure a medal, or is it not going to be fast?
It depends. Sometimes the finals aren't as quick as the semi-finals, so it's just a matter of who's recovered the best on when it comes to the finals.
Again, without being like pointing fingers or anything, the depth in men's swimming just seems way ahead of women's swimming. Like women's swimming, like the peak is so good, but these girls can do a whole lot less, like to make semi. So like Kylie was 57-2, I think, to make the semi, whereas you can't have 1.5 seconds in the tank in a men's race and still make the semi. Like no American guys even made the semi in the 100 freestyle. Like, you can't sleep. Whereas I think these, like the top sort of 3 or 4 girls in each event can really ease through the minor rounds. Like even what we saw with Emma and Siobhan there, like over a second back off their bests and going first and second still. Well, Hansen's had the early start there. There's Jamie's pick. Out to a nice lead. Ingrid looks really good.
Yeah, Hansen then first at 50.
He's still ahead, isn't he? 26,666. Number of the beast. Yeah, so look, I think lane 4 seems to be moving back into it. The negative splitter, Molly O'Callaghan, turns first. Oh, Louisa slipped down to 4. Katie McKeon, the 200 backstroke, is coming back into it as well. Claire Curzon. Could Claire Curzon? No. Oh, Kaylee in 7. Joint third. Oh, 4 medalists. We like to see 4 medalists, don't we? We love a 4-man, 4-woman podium.
Yeah, and that was like six people in a line then, wasn't it? Last 10.
Yeah.
55-4. It's a little quicker. God, that swim by Minna Atherton at ISL in season 1? That 54.8 was just outrageous, weren't it?
Mm-hmm.
Was that London?
Was it the London one? I don't remember.
I think it says Budapest.
But that was.
But I didn't think it was Budapest in the first one. I thought it was London.
Have you ever swum in that London short course?
No. Hannah?
Yeah, I was there for the ISL in the first round, so I should know this one. It's interesting. I'm not sure whether I liked it or not. I find it's a bit like the Manchester pool, where you can have some good swims and then you can have some absolute shocking swims. Long course. I prefer it when it's long course, not short course.
Yeah, that happens seemingly too often, though. I think, where someone has like an epic swim or an epic like series of swims over a few months and just doesn't really bounce back, and it's been quite sad to see with Minna. Because she's still really good, but just not quite that good. Like, she was knocking on the world record for the 100 and 200 at every single meet, and then she struggles to make an Australian team now, which I think that doesn't help being part of like a team like Australia. If she had swum for any other federation, she'd still be making teams without pressure. And obviously being on Australia with people like Molly and Kaylee and Emily Seabon, you can't sleep at any meet. Otherwise you just don't make a team. And I don't know, probably don't help with the pressure of being expected to be the next best thing after that 54.8 and, going to long course, maybe not making a team and never really getting that mojo back.
There's a couple of athletes I think struggled off the back of COVID as well. I think some of them just struggled to get back into that rhythm and that groove, and possibly lost a little bit of fitness or technical skill that they had. And younger swimmers come through, like you always have to look over to your shoulder. There's always someone coming through, and especially in Australia, they've got such depth coming through. As you say, you can't sit back and have a couple of off years and still make teams. Like if you're having an off year, there's someone else ready to take your spot.
There we go. So 55.49, 55.62, and then two 55.74s. The best last 25 was Ingrid, actually, 14.35. I'm liking the 25 splits. Pretty good. Louise back in fifth, unfortunately for her. Yeah. Fourth to first from Kaylee McKeon. Big second half swimmer there.
Right. Men's.
I think Ryan Murphy could threaten almost a world record here. That 50 backstroke of his was unbelievable, and he's a good swimmer. He's good short course. He's good at backstroke, and they're all the things you really need to set a world record. I think
to do, yeah.
There's my man Peter Kotsia. He's a good lad. So there we go. There's the heat. So we got Isaac Cooper, Johan Nadui Bruard, Lorenzo Mora, Ryan Murphy, Kasper Stakowski, Apostolos Christou, Peter Kotsia, and Muan Tomac. Where are we calling it, guys?
I think you're right in Murphy. I don't think he'll set a world record, but I think he'll be comfortable winning.
Yeah, I'll probably go with Murphy as well.
Coleman Stewart's got to feel hard done by Auntie not being able to swim this.
Yeah.
Same with Cassis, isn't it? Having won it last year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's one thing being, not selected by the things, even though you won it last year. That happens in swimming. You can win a meet and not qualify for the team, but not really having the opportunity to qualify short course for someone like Coleman Stewart. It's just crap. And also, if he comes here, he sets a world record, he gets like 65 grand, which, pays off a few things he probably wouldn't mind paying off. And it's just the whole thing like that comes with being good at something and not, I don't know. I would love to see world champs just send out some special invitations to certain people, or like give alternate ways of qualifying. Like if you win the World Cup, you automatically get to go to World Short Course, and then USA can't stop beating Nelson or say Coleman if he qualifies like that.
So would you have that as in addition to the 2 spots per nation, or would that be an extra? Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it ever happening. But
no, but I agree that would be good, because it then still puts even more meaning on the World Cup racing, doesn't it? Other than it being just some racing and a way to try and make money and swim fast and practice racing and that. There's actually the outcome has something riding on it.
Yeah, I really like this Polish guy as well, Kasper. He's NC State, NCAA champion in this event. He's pretty damn good underwater, and I think he could be a threat. Hannah, did you ever do any of the World Cups?
I did. My very first one, I think, was in 2006 in Sydney. And then I did a couple in 2016. That was pretty painful because I think I came fourth about 8 times as well off the back of Rio. I've done a couple of them, and they were really interesting. And Katinka was always there. So it was just a matter of, right, who's going to get second or third?
Ryan Murphy looks brilliant here, popping up right on 15. And he's on the world record line. He's 23.4. He's under world record split. I think he's going to be there or thereabouts. He looks really good here. He looks really good. I don't think it's a question of whether he wins or not. I think it's just whether or not.
Everyone.
He's got. I mean, he is.
He looks powerful. Yeah.
The Italian guy is riding his way.
Just off.
48.50. That's a serious swim.
That's quick.
Lane 8 getting the bronze medal from Isaac Cooper as well, outside smoker. Hannah, so we sort of said earlier about the events you swum and how it's hard to be sort of always in shape and always swimming fast. How did Katinka always swim fast? Because she at the World Cup, she swam like 12 events and somehow like would win all of them,
Yeah. So I remember the first competition, I think it was the Salenkov Cup. So it was off the back of European and World Short Course Championships. And then we did the Salenkov Cup sort of coming into Christmas in 2012. And she raced everything there. And I think there's an element of you can get training through racing. So it's like super URSPT in a sense of, you're doing 800s as well as 400s. So she was racing everything and she was getting basically high intensity for each of those races. So in a sense, it was almost using racing as part of her training. So the volume of high quality work she was getting was obviously adding to that sort of aerobic capacity and her endurance capabilities, which then gave her that advantage. So when it came to bigger meets, she could win them because she just had that depth of experience racing when she was absolutely like buggered and tired and just, knackered. So she knew what limits she could push her body to. And, it's a very smart way of doing it because a lot of swimmers are afraid to, because they're afraid to get beat. They're afraid to, swim so many races because they'll get tired and they feel their quality goes. And that's what she did to start with. And she was getting beat a lot. And then because she kept doing it, kept pushing through it, she built up a resilience and a resistancy that she could actually then bounce back and, reformed herself as the Iron Lady. It was incredible to watch.
Yeah, no, I just remember all them World Cups from probably 2014 to 2018, and it was just like she would swim an 800 or 1500, and then like get out and go 4 IM, and it would be like good, insane, insane.
Bit suspicious sometimes, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I like what you said about not being afraid to race, and even like I've heard Ariane Titmus is commentating this meet for Australian media, and obviously her coach is on the Australian staff. I've seen him in the stands. Her teammate Molly O'Callaghan is racing, and like I kind of, especially with short course, I think there's enough of a distinction between short course and long course that you'd like to think that, well, if she's at the meet and she's obviously training at the moment, why not just give the 200 and 400 a bash? And you know what? Dare I say it, even if she's in not great shape, I think she'd have won that 400. When I say not in great shape, I mean, even if she's really tired, I think, she only had to be within 2 seconds of her best to win that 400. So I don't know, like, what's the worst that could have happened by her racing? Is there any detriment to her training? If she'd done nothing different in her training up until the day before the meet starts, she's in Melbourne anyway, and she goes and races the heats of the 400 freestyle. Like, what's the worst case scenario here?
Could be a psychological thing. It could be that she doesn't have to, and she probably would want to observe and watch the sessions, the races happen rather than actually take part. Because it's that balance of, as you say, you're right. She could go in and worst case scenario, she doesn't win a medal or she doesn't make a final. It's only short course. But for some athletes, it could be that she's got a bigger plan. She's being very specific and maybe prioritizing. I don't need to swim here. I'll, commentate so she can still watch and see what the rest of her competitors are doing. But she doesn't have to. It's kind of like, we kind of used to use it as like a pack of cards. You hold your cards to your chest and you don't reveal what you've got going on. Or it could be that she's in an absolute stinker of a hole in training and her coach is like, right, mentally, I want to, make sure that you are mentally the best you can be when it comes to main competitions. And right now, for you to get beat, we don't want you to, mentally suffer from it. So it's a fine line between physiology and psychology, I think, for a lot of these athletes that choose not to do it.
Yeah, I think though, surely though, being in Australia, you don't get many chances to race a big meet in front of a home crowd.
Yeah.
So even that, I would anticipate just thinking, I would love to race there, even just a race, one race, just see what it's like, or even just swim relays, like just swim the 400.
I'm sure it's a decision that's not just been made on a whim. There'll probably be a bigger reason behind it, I think, because of that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I need to look back and see whether she does talk about it and maybe explain the reasons behind it. But no, I know what you mean. Everybody, each to their own, and I'm sure her coach will have maybe spoken to her and kind of worked out a strategy for that. But yeah, it's an interesting one.
So just thinking back to the World Cups. When you did the World Cups, you're saying you got all those fourth places. Did they give prize money for top three in each event?
Yes.
Like they do it, because how they do it now is you get points, and then your points for the event then go into a ranking. They pay out top 20.
Yeah.
Which obviously would have been better for you then, wouldn't it?
Thanks.
If it
was yeah, I retired at the wrong point. I kind of feel like all these I definitely picked the wrong sport when it came to like financially benefiting from swimming. But yeah, it was brutal because you got nothing, no medal, no money. That's it. Yeah. So
do you think it's a better system how they do it now then, or is it better as it was like for swimmers in general?
I like to say yes, because it's nice to see a change. I need to kind of see it in a couple more cycles, I think, to really understand whether it is beneficial or not. Because I think you then realize people figure out how to work the system and use it to their advantage. I think the fact that so many people were confused with, okay, I've won this, but I'm not even on the leaderboard, or I'm not even year because the points added up. I think that confused a lot of people, which then in some sense was good because it kept people on edge, and then you didn't know. But then at the same time, it wasn't clear. And I think that clarity, helps. I don't know. I think we need a couple of cycles. It definitely needs tweaking, I think, ever so slightly. But I do think it's better. I think it makes it a bit more broader scope, because that was the thing, trying to swim World Cups. I always felt, no disrespect to sprinters, but I always felt it was easier for sprinters to get closer to like world records and beyond world records than the longer distance events. So the chances of us, making more money off it is very, very difficult, like the Mare Nostrums. So if it makes it a bit more fair across the board, then that helps, I guess.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. But also it's easier to be fast if you're a sprinter, regardless, and prime for it. Like someone like Dylan Carter, who won 9 events across the World Cups this year, he's already on the same form 5 weeks later at this meet. Yeah. He was 21.9 at best at World Cup. He's 22.0 already here. It's not like damaged his succession to be good at this meet. Whereas if you'd peak to be on your PBs at the World Cups in a 400, you might be struggling right now at this meet if you plan on doing all of them. But also just from a financial point of view, doing the World Cups was way better than doing the World Champs, unless you think you're going to swim a world record. Get that 50 grand bonus, if it is still 50 grand. The
only problem I know with how it is, so I know Imi Clark was going to race some of the World Cups, but she's only got 50 and 100 breaststroke, and you need that third event, don't you, to be able to make money.
Yeah.
Which is
you do.
So
it makes it harder. Yeah, I mean, it does. It makes it more suitable, I guess, for more versatile athletes to then dip into lots of different other events, and those that are specialized. Are we going to end up seeing maybe less people wanting to do the World Cups who are specialists? And for them, it's like, well, I now can't make as much money as I used to because it now goes against me. But whichever way you do it, it's going to impact somebody. But it's nice to see a little bit of a change in that sort of sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear it suits certain swimmers. Most notably sprinters. But even with the sprinters, take someone like Ben Proud. Like he's got no chance at a World Cup, because he doesn't have a third event. He can, he can win the 50 he can possibly medal in the 50 fly, and then what's he got next? Like right now, he's not got 100 in him. He ain't got a 50 breast or a 50 back. So, someone like Dylan luckily has that third stroke and he's pretty good at backstroke, but he was literally having to swim PBs to he was in the best form of his life to do what he did.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many coaches are old school in the mentality that they want their swimmers to be good at the long course summer meet, that they kind of miss that maybe some swimmers, their best opportunity would just to be peaked and rested for a World Cup or an ISL when it was happening and make as much money as possible. Their best case scenario is they come 13th at the Olympics or the World Championships. And I'm not saying that's not an accomplishment. I mean, it's bloody good. But 20 years down the line, having earned $500,000 in World Cup prize money versus not getting a penny for coming 13th at the Olympics and never getting a sponsorship deal. I don't know. They're weighted, and I feel like people maybe should look at things like World Cups as their best opportunity if they've got realistic ambitions in terms of long course.
But I think people probably are doing that a bit. Like the World Cups this year, especially in my events, were a lot faster than they have been any other year. It's like a massive drop. So I presume, people then are seeing that as an opportunity now.
Yeah. You're kind of seeing a change as well. Oh, sorry. Yeah, going to the 100 breaststroke. We'll come back to it.
It's not started yet. So you say your bit, and then we'll talk about the 100 breaststroke.
I kind of feel as well, it's the profile of athletes are changing. Like the old school way was you make your profile based on World Champs, Olympics, like those big events, but you can actually still make your name as a swimmer through the World Cups. And I think it's nice to see that change in progression so that, like you say, short course specialist athletes can still make a name for themselves and actually benefit from it rather than just disappearing because they only came 13th at the Olympics and not get sponsorship, whereas they can actually, dominate World Cups. So it just gives more scope for a career in swimming.
Yeah, I think even like what you said earlier when you talked about your favorite medals, but you mentioned your world silver medal long course because you said it's long course. But I think that goes back to just what we're nurtured and coached in terms of long course is the focus. Short course doesn't matter as much, but it's like, well, you're still the best in like winning that 400 Ironman that year was freaking insane, and it's really hard to just like. Again, I get the arguments. Certain events at this meet, for example, the women's 400 freestyle. I'm not taking anything away from Lani, but she's sitting there knowing that the 3 fastest girls in the world didn't show up to this race. Or 4, if you take Titmus, the Chinese girl, and obviously Katie in summer. So is she sitting there thinking this is not a deserved world medal? Well, you can always say that about every race ever, though. Long course, short course, any meet. So I don't really buy it. And I think short course... if anything, it's slightly more skilled swimmers. You have more things you've got to be good at. People say it's like, I don't know.
Small mistakes, short course, I think, are harder to recover from.
Shows up. Yeah.
Like if you balls up one turn, your next turn's likely to be ballsed up as well.
Come on, Lara. Second by Lara. A little slower than the morning. I think it's so much on the coaches, and then also what the coaches think and what they grew up doing, and like it's almost
governing bodies as well.
Sorry, say that again.
Governing bodies as well.
Sorry,
I think.
Of course, of course. The governing bodies set the standards of what they value and what they tell you is matters and how you're going to keep them funded and stuff. Of course.
The next year's World Cup's coming along for us, guys.
Hello.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
How are you?
Yeah, good.
I've come into a debate about short course, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I picked up at the end. I haven't got the stream. I can't stream on my phone and talk to you guys at the same time, so I'm missing all the swimming now.
I'm going to get demonetized and taken off.
All right. Well, you just have to give me an update.
Yes. Imogen just come 8.154.
Right, okay. Ryan Murphy, very impressive. I'm impressed with him. 22.3, 48.5.
He was good.
Yeah, he was excellent. And I've heard it's 10 degrees out there. 10 degrees.
I think it was colder. It was 8 to start with.
8. My lord.
We've got an echo. James, you've made us have an echo.
Cracking echo. Right, okay. Let me just see if I go to a different room.
All right, we've got the woman in the second heat. Really excited about Ruta. She was another one at the World Cup. Come back. Do you know Ruta at all, Hannah? Obviously, she spent a lot of time in the UK.
Yeah, I don't know her like really, really well, but at competitions up until she retired, like you'd see her, she was just lovely, just such a nice girl and really quietly spoken and just got on with, what she needed to do and just such an amazing talent. I mean, London was just, out of this world for what she achieved at so young. And just so pleased to see her coming back, and for her to kind of reformed her mental state as well. Like, you can see she's enjoying it. You can see there's not the weight or the pressure on her shoulders that I think she was carrying going into sort of her late teen years. And just for her to actually, you get to properly see Ruta now, Ruta, the person, the one who's really good at breaststroke, but actually her own character too. I think that's really, really important. A lot of athletes sometimes get stuck behind the profile of being this swimmer, set in this box, I am this athlete, but actually you get to see more Ruta, the person, which I think is just lovely.
Yeah, she looked incredible at the World Cups. I mean, threatening the world record in the 50, which is obviously Ali Atkinson's. And she just also made Lily King, who, I mean, if you remember the ISL, I think season 2 and 3, Lily King was like this superhero who just couldn't be beaten. And then Ruta just made her look, I don't want to say average, but not
say pedestrian.
Yeah. And you could see it was frustrating Lily, who's quite emotionally apparent, let's say it like that. And you could see Lily was kind of like, yeah, this is getting annoying. This is getting annoying.
Their own pool as well in Indy.
Yeah.
Have we still got the Jane?
How's that? Is there an echo now, or is that better?
Yes, we still have an echo.
It's still got an echo.
I think it's like an audio feedback.
And go on audio. Echo cancellation.
Can you cancel me?
You got some headphones, otherwise.
What can I do? I don't know how to help him. Either headphones or go in settings, audio.
Come back tomorrow.
Okay. See you later, James.
I tried. See you later, guys.
Good effort.
I don't know what that was about. I mean, maybe headphones. I don't know. Anyway, Lily's on the blocks. She's smiling. I think she's going to get beaten by Ruta again.
Yeah, powerful.
Ruta's start is unbelievable. Did you see that? She enters
so powerful.
Like unbelievable. She enters further than anyone and like faster than anyone. It's like Taylor Dressel, but women swimming and breaststroke.
Her reaction times, I think, are pretty quick as well, and to have a good reaction and power is very, very good. Yeah, Caleb Dressel style.
Lily's right there though, right?
Yeah.
Like 29.4, 29.6. The long course world champion Benedetta Pilato. Benny's having a good swim up in the top lane. Weird. Lily come right back into it, and then now Ruta's sort of distanced herself.
Yes, Lily's pullouts have gone well, haven't they?
If anything, Lily's pullouts. It's just Ruta's start that's incredible.
Yes, go.
Lily on the touch, 103.3.
Ooh.
Happy with that.
Yeah, she loves it.
I don't think it's going to be that simple tomorrow, though. I feel like, I don't know. I still back Ruta. Look at that start. Mental good.
Yeah.
She does. She just gets so much distance off the block. Like, she enters the water so much further ahead compared to everyone.
It's literally like almost a foot ahead of. I mean, just the athletic level versus Lily's start. Lily's start just doesn't it's not a bad start compared to the other girls, but Ruta's start just looks like, wow, she's worked on that. And I mean, she spent a lot of time in her early years with John Rudd in Plymouth and Ben Proud. And, Ben's sort of like, other than Caleb Dressel, Ben's the same. He's got this mega start that's kind of crazy good. I mean, it was 0.07 in the end. And I mean, I know I said it earlier, but I think the women can play around with the heats and the semis a little bit more. Like, they both were a second ahead of what it took to make the semi-final there. So Ruta can play mind games a little bit. She can.
Do you think that's what's doing there? Just sack off that last 25 a little bit.
I forgot who it was, but I remember someone like purposely in a semi-final, like acting like they died to make someone have like full security.
George Bevell was talking about that, wasn't he? About the 200 IM in Athens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then Laszlo being next to Laszlo Che in that semi, pretending he died. So then when they got into the final, they were next to each other. Then he just then touched him out.
Mind games.
Patch of rain started today. Very lucky grandstands up here. Shocking venue when it's windy. Oh, there we go. 100 breast this morning. Obviously saw Adam Peaty going in it, which is, it's pretty cool that we've got Adam again going to a short course meet and saying he wants to win a short course meet. And I mean, for him, it's the last major medal he has to win. So I'm not surprised that he wants to win it, and it's cool to see him actually saying he wants. I know it should go without saying, but he wants to have won everything there is to win in swimming. Which, why would you not? I think the biggest shock this morning was Michael Andrew not making it back. He come 25th, I think.
What did he? Do you know what he was? Time
58.2.
Yeah. He swam the mixed medley, didn't he? Heats.
Yes, 25.5 on the breaststroke.
Do you think that
he went out quick?
Shouldn't make him struggle, should it? With his type of training and that.
No, I think he was just not great.
It's the second half. He went out in like 26.7, which is just as quick as the top 16 guys, but he just didn't have the second half to back it up. So either the relay took it out of him, or he just didn't recover well, or temperature-wise might have affected him. I don't know.
I don't know.
He certainly had the potential, but didn't finish it.
He's done a lot of travelling, hasn't he, recently? Because he was in. Well, I spoke to him at the World Cup. He was saying he did some meet in Greece. So he went from America to Greece, now to Australia.
Yeah,
and that was only like last week or a week and a half ago or something.
I think Michael Andrew gets the commercial side of swimming better than most, and like Tyr done this big thing in Athens. Ryan Lochte was there. They done some fun relays. They done some actual racing, but all of this stuff does again take away from the championship meets, and I feel like he does just suffer. I think commercially and probably financially, he's doing very well from swimming, but I hope it doesn't always get in the way of actually winning a few things when it comes to the end of the day. But do we is Adam Peaty winning this? Do we think Adam Peaty's winning the 100 breaststroke tomorrow in the semi-final? Maybe.
Need to see how he is form-wise in the semi, I think.
Yeah, I think he could, because he was a world record holder, wasn't he? Short course.
Yeah. He's been 55, I think 5 or 55.4 at his best. Yeah. He looks good here. He looks really good. He looks much longer on the stroke than the rest of them in a efficient and effective way. He looks uncomfortable on the blocks though. He moved around so much, like he doesn't look.
He just looks like he doesn't really fit. But his I don't. Yeah, just like I agree. He looks uncomfortable.
So it looks like the Japanese guy in the lane next to him seems to get him on the pullout, so then Adam just cruises through. This is kind of what we used to see again, when he used to race Cameron van der Burr long course and stuff like that, and not really what we see from Adam much now long course. He's pretty good at, he's improved his starts, he's improved his turns, but he's going to win convincingly here, right? This is going to be 56 low, 56.4.
6.4.
That looks so much better than what we saw him in Commonwealth. Like watching his stroke, it just looks so hard. You could tell he was revving it. He had the mindset, but the body just wasn't keeping up. That's the most comfortable I've seen him race since then, which has been really nice to see.
Yeah, he's proper up for it now. He's I have to get him beat. Look at him with his ears out. There's a great photo from when we were watching Ruben, Sonny, at Winter Nationals.
Yes.
So there's a lad at Manchester. He's got quite this big afro, and his bullet hat just won't stay on. So his hat's coming off, and there's a mint photo of he's got like this strand of hair coming down the side of his face.
Yeah.
So
I had a train of thought. No, I was going to say about coming back from injury, and I think I know Hannah's dealt with a fair few injuries in a time, but I think it's impressive how well athletes of the top level, like you guys, bounce back from injuries. And I think we saw it with Sarah in the Olympic year. Like, she still got a medal. I saw the videos that she showed me of like right after it and all the way, like, and it was like how you turned that around in like 4 months to being basically disabled to winning an Olympic medal. And I think Adam again was the same situation. Like, just the fact that he medaled, he won commies in the 50 breaststroke, but like people just, as soon as, because he made himself vulnerable by turning up to race, everyone expects him to win. And just the fact that he was there in a final was really quite an accomplishment.
But I think he also expected to win. Like, I don't think he ever even thought about not winning.
Yeah.
No, but that's kind of the mentality that helps you recover and be good. And I think we're seeing from Adam is that this extra 3 months he's had now is all the difference between probably almost being back towards his best and where he was in reality at Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, it was like his mind was already there, but his body just needed to catch up with recovery. Like, for him, Commonwealth was just that little bit too soon for him with what he was able to do and conditioning and his strength. But his mindset was right there. And yeah, he put himself in such a vulnerable position, but he's now had that extra 3 months. His body is now obviously caught up with his mindset. And, he's a powerful combo when his mindset and his body strength work unanimously.
And I think now he is fully focused on swimming. So I think last year he did very well business-wise, didn't he? He was very good commercially. Which then, obviously, when he did Strictly, he wasn't training, was he? And then obviously he's knackered his foot. But now he is on to swimming and swimming with some emotion and really up for it. I think he can be getting back.
Yeah, he had a child as well, right? I'm sure that's another big factor. So in this semi-final, we've got Emre Saki in lane 1. And, you mentioned suspicious about someone earlier, Jamie. Yeah. But this guy last year, I watched him get disqualified, I think 2 or 3 times at World Short Course. And then a week or 2 later, he set the world record in the 50 breaststroke in Turkey in 24.9. And his best in this event is like 55.3 or 55.4. He's right on the world record, and he's outside lane in 57 here. I mean, I just think it's unbelievable how much you can drop off in a year, seemingly.
How much when you have to concentrate on not doing fly kicks, you have to, you're going to be slower.
Yeah, I've heard he's the nicest guy. I'm not taking anything away. I'm sure he's a lovely guy.
Yeah, he is, but
24.9 is I don't know. I think it's the most clouded world record we've got at the moment.
How can you go from DQ 2 or 3 times to then suddenly dropping loads of time in your home country
in a week?
Yeah,
he doesn't look good up there. But I think actually talking about the positive people, I think Nick Fink's going to be the hardest for Adam to beat in the 100 tomorrow. Nick Fink, he's done the sweep of all the breaststrokes, I'm pretty sure, at the World Cup. 9 wins, 50, 100, 200 breaststroke.
Also a big day racer, isn't he? Like with the ISL finals, he won the last 2 years, didn't he?
But also Nicolo split 24.8 in the 50 on the relay earlier. Nick was 24.9. They're ridiculous splits, and Nicolo gets the win, 56.0. So I think that means Adam's going to be 3rd seed into the final tomorrow on quick workings out. I think so, yeah.
Solid.
Breaststroke.
Very interesting.
He's got a nice dive, hasn't he, Martinelli?
It's ridiculous. Like, he fully inverts his back and then somehow enters perfectly.
Like Brad Tandy, isn't it? How he used to dive.
Brad had a ridiculous start. How much start practice did you do, Hannah?
Not much. We always start every training session with a dive start. So then if you did no sprint work, at least you knew you had that one dive every session. Being only 5'5" power, momentum off the block was never my forte. As much as I tried to jump, it was just never quite as powerful as some of the others. I could get my reaction down to, I think it was like 0.6, 0.67, I think was roughly what I would react, but it's like a flea. I'd jump, but not much power off of it. So yeah, it was just that one dive at the start of the session. If we did a sprint set or a speed set, there'd be other dives, but it was always guaranteed at least one dive, and that would try and be my best dive for the day or the session anyway. Yeah, I always envied sprinters. Siobhan for me was like my idol for starts. Like, I do not know how Siobhan O'Connor's, like, she got her starts the way she did, because she just dove in and she was 2 feet in front of everyone. And even watching her going head to head with some of the boys in Bath, and she'd be ahead of them, like a bit like Ruta's start. It was just on point. Power, momentum, explosion, drive. Yeah, she had incredible starts and underwaters.
Yeah, Siobhan was brilliant. Like, I remember, I mean, she was another one who could swim like all the way down to like the 100 fly. She made teams in that 200 free, 2IM. Yeah, I think it's a shame that, you know, I think she left the sport a bit early. But you know, she was part of the ISL last year. She's still involved, which is nice to see. And yeah,
when did she retire? After Rio?
No,
Just before Tokyo.
Okay.
It was like the year, it was like June, I think, because it was just before the last qualification round for the Olympic trials. So June 2021, I think she put a notice out saying that she was having to hang up her goggles.
So is that about the same time as you, Hannah?
Yeah, well, I retired 1st of December last year. So I kind of continued on just to try and transition my way out of it. But I kind of knew after Glasgow International that I was on my way out, but I kind of wanted to be able to announce my retirement the way that I wanted to. So kept swimming into the new season, raced my last ever 400 IM race in my sort of hometown. They've got a new swimming pool, old one that I used to train and got knocked down, new one rebuilt, and they were doing like a medley meet. So I was like, I raced my last 400 IM there, not tell anyone. And then it means my last ever race was the 400 IM before I retired. So yeah.
Now the secret's out there. You said not tell anyone, and now it's
before I retired. So yeah, everyone now knows. Yeah, not that much of a secret. Sorry, I've worded that badly.
Do you swim now still, or you just
little bits? Yeah, I have struggled to get back into it. Just there's a whole host of stuff that goes on in my head. Like, my body shape's changed a fair bit, so I feel like, if I get back in, everyone's going to think, "Oh, you're so slow. You've changed shape," and that's just me. Like, I know nobody's going to be thinking that, but I think it's just my own battles of getting in. I'm trying to do little bits, like 2 or 3 times a week if I can. But I'm trying other activities as well, because I found that not doing anything is killing me. I need routine. Didn't realize. I thought, brilliant, get lie-ins, don't have to wake up at 4:30 in the mornings. But actually, I need an alarm to wake me up to actually get me to do something purposeful for the day. So it's just trying to find that balance. But yeah, I still try and get in little bits, because if I do clinics or work with individuals and I offer drills, I feel like I need to still be able to do it myself. Yeah. I still feel like, I kind of need to practice what I preach. But it's nice just actually swimming without looking at times and being like, how fast was that? How long have I swum for? I can actually just do it just to clear my head. And if my head's overwhelmed or busy, for some reason, as soon as I hit that water, everything just clears. And I'm so much more better organized in my head when I hit the water.
Cool. So what sports have you taken up instead?
Tried jogging. I say jogging, not running, because I've got flat feet, so it's like a penguin trying to run. And it's very slow paced, but I'm moving. Doing like reformer Pilates work. I really like that, and some mobility stuff. Trying to get back into a bit of rock climbing. Other stuff. Yeah, I love it. I love the puzzle. Just being able to figure out like how to climb up, different drills, like one hand, doing it with like tennis balls in your hand, trying to get your forearms to work. Stand-up paddleboarding as well. Yeah. And then another one where it's not technically me exercising, but doing fly ball with my dog. So it's more of a dog sport. That's so much fun. That's actually allowed me to kind of input all the competition experience that I've had, dial it back into a bit more of a manageable sense, and apply it to my dog.
Yeah.
It's great fun.
I'm a big fan of climbing. I've not done full like leader, but I like bouldering. I think it's great fun.
I'm not a fan of bouldering. I hate falling,
Not a fan of
which is slightly
bouldering?
ironic. No, I prefer being attached to a rope. Like lead climbing I can do, or climbing where the rope's already attached, but bouldering freaks me out with the sense of falling. And at least if I fall when I'm on the wall with the rope, I've got the rope to catch me, whereas knowing you're going to land, I just feel like I'm going to land in a funny position. Love watching speed climbing, though. Speed climbing at the Olympics was my favorite event to watch.
It's mental.
Cool.
It's mental.
Crazy.
It's full sprint. It's full sprint.
Yeah.
I think it's absurd how they do or at least how they done it last year with the lead and the bouldering and the speed all combined, because it's like, I don't know, it's not even similar to doing 53 and 1500 free. It's like doing 50 freestyle and marathon running.
1500.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It did shut out a lot of like the veteran climbers, because they were like, well, I'm just specialized in bouldering, or I'm just specialized in lead climb. So it meant that a lot of the youngsters coming through who hadn't specialized yet had a greater opportunity of going in. So it'd be interesting going forward whether they still keep that as a sport in the Olympics, but also that sort of methodology, or whether they will allow a sort of a greater depth of pool of, rock climbing athletes by climbers, just making sure that it's not just open for all three. The specialized ones can get a look in as well.
I feel like they can give 3 medals to climbing if they give however many medals to swimming and athletics and and rowing and whatever. I mean, they added more like medals to swimming this year than there was for climbing completely. So, and I think it's a cool sport. Back to the swimming then. Does Jordan Crooks finish the job on Popovich and Chalmers at finals tomorrow?
Ooh. Maybe, but I still think Chalmers. I still think he's going to be so up for it. I think, and I don't know if he was easing up, boy. It looks like Jordan was dropping off that last 25. So, so I think Chalmers will still get him. I think Jordan probably second. I could see that. Maybe or what's his name? Grousset. Frenchie second. And I don't know if Popovich will medal, but maybe. So that'll be quite exciting, I think, tomorrow.
Kind of be the race to watch, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I wonder how Jordan finds swimming meters compared to yards. If he gets like that 40 seconds and then suddenly it's like, fucking hell, I've still got 10 meters to go. Or if he feels fine.
Talk to us about yards, Jamie. You spent some time in Hawaii. You raced yards a few times.
It's just like wall after wall after wall. Like especially on fly, because my fly, I was only going 4 strokes a length yards. So you've only got three strokes that you can actually try and spot a wall. 3 strokes getting some breath in, and then you turn and go again. But I think that's why all these times at NCAAs are like so fast, or like seem so fast. Like when they try and do these conversions, which I'm not convinced by. But I think because it is so much power, you can get away with, or that they can do a lot of training just for power, because you've just got to be powerful for 40 seconds on your 100 free. Whereas like if you then try to do it 45 seconds as a proportion, that's like 12.5% longer, isn't it? To try and produce force for that much more time is difficult. But no, I didn't mind swimming yards. I think with doing some more racing in it, I think it could be quite fun. We only raced yards like a couple of times. It was like the Hawaiian state champs. It's good. I'll tell you. I'll tell you a bit about that after the 50
So,
fly.
yeah, women's 50 fly is about to dive in. Lane 4, Maggie McNeil. Lane 7, Claire Curzon, who medalled last year. Maggie didn't swim it last year, and she's obviously a great yard swimmer, great long course swimmer. Great. She looks like she's had either a bad start or she's not. She's 8th. And it's Melanie Hennique, the French woman in lane 2, who's had the best start.
And 4 looks good.
Sorry, Maggie's turn was the most ridiculous thing ever. Sorry, what just happened? Maggie was 8th the first. That was absurd. Did you see that turn?
That was crazy. Yeah. Her underwaters are incredible. Like, and it's not just the underwaters, it's obviously how she got around the wall and applied the power off it into that. Yeah. She absolutely like nailed that to perfection in a sense of, okay, maybe not a great start, but she finished strong whilst the others were probably struggling and maybe dying off. Our competitive element there was so good.
So her start was okay, and I find that as well. Like route to start and pull out is brilliant, but then her turns weren't maybe as good as Lily's. And then the dive and the underwaters there from Maggie wasn't great. The swimming into the turn was 8th, and then it's the rotation and as you said, the power off the. Look at that shot there. She went 8th to 1st in 10 meters there. Like crazy stuff.
Crazy.
But that's someone who's really good at the turn and the underwaters, especially off the walls. I think 100 is going to be really good. That world record is still yet to go. You say she breathed?
Yeah, she's breathing, isn't she?
Yeah, she breathed all the time. And so not mentioned that Tori Husk also won. There was a joint first there, so great swim by both them swimmers there.
Even coming into the wall, like Zhang was still in front. Like it's almost like a Phelps Kavich scenario again. Like I don't quite know how Zhang actually lost that.
Really?
I don't think she glided into the wall.
I want to see it again now.
Yeah.
I swear I don't like this all Aquatics. You're on YouTube. You can actually watch it again.
YouTube, I can rewind it there, but then I don't trust myself to get back to the right place.
Maggie's small as well. Like, look at her compared to Tori. Like, you know, if you're going to put someone on a finish, you're thinking the long arms, the big stroke. I mean,
but she's short, isn't she? But her arms look long.
That's the maths degree coming through there.
Yeah, that's what we studied.
She's short but long.
When she swims, her arms look long on the fly. I don't know.
I know what you mean. That was what we got told as a short athlete. Like you have to make yourself look longer in the water, and it's like how you hold your body position and body line. So using freestyle the rotation to get that extra length. So for her, making sure that as her hands enter, she's got the exact positioning for her legs so that she does look longer than she actually is.
I should have won that. She kept her head down.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was really, really impressive. I just can't believe like she's breathing in a 50 fly as well. Like you look at someone like Sarah, who's been more the elite sprinter for a while, doesn't breathe in any of her 50s, and there we're seeing her breathe into the turn, out the turn, whatever she fancied, really.
Maybe she's like it helps with the stroke count. She might be like 5 and a bit strokes or 6 and a bit strokes. So taking that breath means it's 6 is bang on.
Guaranteed the stroke count. Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Or maybe she just is faster because Govorov breathes long course, doesn't he, on his 50?
Yeah, he breathes a couple times, right? I think he breathed 2 or 3 times in that 22-2, which is still one of the most absurd swims ever. 22-2 50 fly. I mean, it would have made this final, short course final. I mean, he didn't make the short course final. There's Chatty. Go on, Chatty. I think Chatty has an outside shot of winning this, because he does well when he's not a favourite. He's 5th seed in. He's swimming fast. And I don't know, Jabo looked a class ahead in the semis of that 21.9, but he never wins. And I know it's for the younger guys. It's okay. Of course, they've not won yet. They've got a chance to win, but he's been around a long time, and I mean, even the world record he's been, I think, is from a semi-final or something. You know, he's got 3 European golds short course, 1 European gold long course. Other than that, you know, he's not got any world short course medals. For someone who's as talented as him, I don't know. I don't think Jabo's winning it. I think Santos is a good winner, and I think Santos is a good chance to win him.
Dylan's a good winner.
And Dylan wants to win bad. So, yeah.
Dylan's got such a different stroke as well. Like he swims it bent arms, yeah. But it's so direct and then catches so quick.
Yeah.
And I felt like I saw him when he was racing the World Cups. Yeah, it looks weird, but it's carries so much speed through.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Chad's someone as well who gets really good off the wall. His underwater off the wall is much better than his underwater off the start in a Maggie McNeil way. He won't be first at the turn. I think Seb was 9.8 yesterday to 25, which is just absurd. So I think Seb, you know, in this race you've got Seb, Santos, and Dylan who go out really well first to 25, and you've got Chad and Noe. Noe's probably the biggest surprise for me because he's like a 200 fly, 100 fly guy. He's young. He breathes a lot normally. And he went 22-0 twice yesterday. So Noe could be a shock here. But, well, we're about to get going. And, Jabo off the start looks brilliant. It's definitely Jab. I think Jabo's going to turn first.
9-9.
9-9. Yeah, as I said, Chad back in 8th, as kind of expected.
Santos turn then.
Santos.
It's Santos. Is the old man going to do it? Santos again! I can't believe it.
He had a fucking phenomenal fly kick then.
That was a great turn.
Sorry. Is Santos going to retire now? How can you retire? He's got to keep going.
He's in his prime. He's just getting started.
I feel bad I didn't give him enough credit before the race because, like, he is a winner, and that's kind of the thing that's happened again and again and again. But
and 21-7 again.
He's sorry. Can we? How old do we know how old he actually is?
14th of Feb 1980. He was born.
Yeah.
So that makes him
40 in human years.
He's 43 in April. In 4 months' time, he is 43. And he just went 21-7, 50 fly.
With the shittest finish imaginable. His underwater off that turn was crazy.
Yeah.
He won that solidly as well. Like, it weren't even...
Yeah.
Just a casual glide into the wall.
He's probably going to retire after 2028. Age 48.
It'll happen. He'll retire. Then the next Olympics, they'll add 50s.
Did you see? He looked genuinely surprised, like, oh, I'm still really quick.
Yeah.
Mate, that's never stop. I hope he starts doing masters and starts swimming like 21.5 in masters. Like,
that'd be hilarious.
Some world records.
Mm-hmm.
Make them fucking untouchable.
I just don't see how he can retire. Like, surely he's got to just see, like, well, I'm gonna start doing one less session a week and keep going. Like, I don't think he's swimming that much. I don't think he's doing like 10 sets. He's not doing what you was doing, Hannah. That's for sure. Like,
well, he's doing a 50, and plus the speed and power. Like, you can see it in his physique as well. Like, he's obviously very specific with the training that he's doing, and you don't have to do 10 swim sessions. You know, it's quality over quantity, and especially as you get older, you have to match your training with your age and capability. Like, you can't train the same as what you were doing as 16, 17. You have to match the training as you progress with age. So yeah. If he's not swimming much, it's obviously working for him. His natural fast twitch fibers are obviously very good, and just maximizing on it.
Yeah, I'd like to see him not retire. I'd really would, because he kind of. I think it was in this interview last year where he with the interviewer, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to do this next year. I'm going to keep going for another year. And we've got World Short Course next year, right? I'm not wrong. It's 2023. It has to be, right?
No, it's going to be
No.
24.
Long course.
After
Yeah, I was
the
going to say it's long course next year, but
Okay. Oh, it should be sorry. Yeah, it's odd years normally, isn't it? Yeah.
It's normally even years.
Yeah. So
short course is even. Long course was odd, but obviously we have now 5 years of world long course back to back.
yeah. Okay. Well, you'd have to wait 2 years to win this again. I mean, it'd be nearly 45, but it doesn't really seem like it's an issue at this point. Like,
no, then
he could retire for a year and come back. I'm pretty sure he'd still do well.
Yeah. That's probably the call, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come back at 44. Well, there we go.
20 seconds, sub 22.
Yeah, Dylan probably with the biggest shock of that race. 22.14, unfortunately, for sixth. And, you know, we can say he's in the same form as World Cups, but as I said, he was 21.9 at World Cup, which I think he was 9.9, so it wouldn't have medalled here. So,
9.9.
you know, at the end of the day, it's not a massive difference. Maybe if he'd worked a little harder and rested a little more, maybe he could have done a bit better here, but it's a 50 fly. It's tough. But yeah, Noah, 21.9. That's probably the biggest impress from the race. But the crazy thing about Nick Santos is he really won it on the second 25 with that 11.7 back end. He was a second half swimmer in his old age. He's not a front end swimmer anymore. He went out conservative in 10.00 and then really pushed it on the way back. Wow. I mean, there's not much more to say than that, right? Like, really impressive. 42.
42. And
I mean,
he can definitely still do a job long course as well.
Yes.
Surely on a 50. Come on. Stay with it.
You've got a few years, Hannah, and you can come back and be a 50 swimmer.
Oh, I'd love to be a sprinter. Sprint life. That was always the dream. Just didn't quite have the muscle bulk and power.
And that's you. This is your opportunity now. You got two years.
Yeah, 2 years. All right. I'll do a Santos and come back in my 40s.
For someone like you who swam 400 IM, you must have loved the work to a degree, though. You can't not be good at 400 IM and love the work. I personally love coaching it. Like the sessions I think you would have enjoyed. Like for me, they're just the most, the most fun. Like sprint sessions, I think are really time consuming and a lot of 15s. And what does it? It's not that exciting going 5.4 for a 15. But I feel like some of the stuff that you've probably done in training and over the years, that to me as a coach is the most exciting thing to do. Like,
yeah, I mean, the great thing as well, being a medley swimmer, you can be like, right, what stroke's feeling good today? Whichever stroke was my number one could change. So it's like, right, 3100s on your number one, flies out the question. Let's go for free, or let's go for back, or So it was quite nice being able to do that. Yeah, I did enjoy it. I liked the ability. It's almost like changing gears in a car. Like you could kind of set yourself into finding just that rhythm. And if I did sprints like 15s, I could never have control over it. You just sprint, and then it was like, right, what's the time? And you could have like quite a big variation in the times, and it was like, well, I have no control or feel as to how that's changed. It felt exactly the same as before. Whereas doing, like 10-300s or set of 3100s, you can build into it. You know what you need to do, where you play off your kick or play off a higher stroke rate. Same with doing medley switch events. And yeah, there's been some, I just enjoyed it. I just preferred sort of like the threshold VO2 max type sets were kind of what I thrived off of. And I even trained with Maria Belmonte one time. I think it was in 2015 in January, went up to altitude. And that was just insane. First week at altitude, British Swimming were saying, careful, ease yourself into it, build into it. We did 13 sessions. I went 120 kilometers. And it was like at the end of every week for the 3 weeks that we were up there, we did a timed 5K as well. And that's what Maria was doing. And it was a great experience and exposure. And there was one training set I did where I had in my head, it was like 10 400s, 5 IM, 5 front crawl at altitude. And I was flying. Like I felt, oh, this is great. I misheard. It was 20 400s, not 10. I died on my arse in the second half of that set. It was dire. But yeah, yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a bit of a masochistic kind of feel of, really pushing your body to its limit, but then the satisfaction afterwards, because my mindset was, well, what were my competitors doing? So I always felt, if I trained hard, I knew that I could stand on the block knowing that I'd given absolutely everything. And I was just that quirky bird that just enjoyed being tough in those kind of sets. But hats off to sprinters, because I could not get my lactate up for anything. Like, if it got above 5 millimoles in a training session, I was delighted and felt like I was dissolving inside. Yet I remember Lizzie Simmons, I think her reading on the lactic thing didn't even come up because it was that high. And I was like, wow, couldn't do that. So yeah.
How did that training camp come about? Did you, I'm guessing you was mates with Maria, and did she invite you? Was it with her coach or?
So I kind of know Fred. I did do a bit of training with Fred for a bit before he moved out to Spain. So he used to coach in Edinburgh for a bit, and with Kirsty Balfour, Gregor Tate, Chris Gilchrist. So I used to go on training camps with him and his wife as well, and go to the Mare Nostrums, go and train in Cannes. So because my dad was a helicopter pilot, he couldn't always be there to train. He was a volunteer coach, so he would, I'd had to do a lot of training on my own. So I would get sent to different programs to train, and Fred was always one. And I think it was just off the back of the Commonwealths. My dad was still flying, and it was right, I need to try and find somewhere to do a bit of a training camp. And we just reached out to Fred because we thought, it'd be great to go head to head with Maria and just train with her for a little bit. And yeah, that kind of worked. So yeah, kind of worked out that way. Just got in touch with them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the last race of the day didn't die. Last race of the day, what the women's 4x200. I mean, after yesterday's race, I feel like the Australian team are definitely going to be on world record watch here, which is a Netherlands world record from Qatar in 2014. And they've got a pretty good team here. Maddie Wilson, Molly O'Callaghan, Leah Neal, and obviously Lani Pallister, who's been hot property at this meet. The US team, I don't think it's a joke at all, with Alex Walsh, who obviously silver in the 2IM yesterday, Hallie Flickinger, we know how good she is, Erin Gemmell, and Leah Smith. And I think the Canadian team is probably the other one that I'm looking at as being pretty strong as well.
Yeah, they're definitely, I think, ones to watch out for. Anchoring with Taylor Ruck, who is, renowned for having a very solid 200 free, and Mary Sophie Harvey as well. Great relay athlete, and very good 200 specialist too. Yeah,
and the Chinese team, I think, could be really good, but I've heard they've got a lot of either COVID or illness in their group at the moment. They're obviously not using Bingji Li, and I think it's Yang Zhuang. I don't speak Chinese, but their two girls go 151 at their nationals, a few weeks or a month or so back. So I think on paper, they've probably got two girls and a team that could really challenge this, but I don't think either of them top two girls are in this race for them. So I think they're unfortunately not going to be a big factor with a weakened team. And obviously New Zealand in the race as well, with Erica Fairweather leading out, who's in, as we know, great form as well. And sadly, no GB.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, we're about to go. We've got again, Maddie Wilson leading out versus Alex Walsh. Alex Walsh is one of the UVA girls, the Virginia girls, who's it's probably the best women's program in the world, and all their swimmers can do everything, it seems. So I think she'll probably be pretty good on this 200 freestyle leading off. What do we think about how America have sort of split programs, men's programs, women's programs, whereas obviously we're British guys and we just all swim together. That's all we know.
I quite like it. I think having it split, I think, is really good, but I just don't think we've got the depth and the pool space and capacity for coaching, I think, as well, to balance it and manage it really well. I think it works really well. Obviously, it works for them. It would be good to see something like that maybe in GB, but I just think we're just a little bit smaller number-wise to make that doable.
How do they do it? Do they do it like the men swim 4 till 6 and the women 6 till 8, or do they like swim at the same time but different ends of the pool, or what? How do they
Depends
tend
on
to
the
run it?
program.
Oh, is it?
I think it depends on the program. I think some do swim at the same time, but it is just separate programs, and then there's some where it is different timings. Each program will be run slightly differently, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look like pools like Texas or programs like Texas have 30 lanes of probably pool space.
Yeah.
So they've got an outdoor pool that's 50 yards, and it's like a weird shape that can do a million formats. They've got an indoor pool, and any 50-meter pool is 20 lanes yards. So when you think of it like that, there's so many pools and so many. So the bigger programs probably can train at the same time. I don't know if they do. Did you? Sorry, I wanted to ask you earlier, Hannah. Have you ever swum yards?
I did. I went on a training camp with Peter Banks a couple of times out in Florida, and we did train yards, and it's weird. I didn't train it very often, but it was very, very bizarre. I couldn't cope with the number of turns.
Well, Canada are out to a really strong start with, I think it's Rebecca Smith here. She's 2.5 seconds under world record pace, which, I mean, doesn't mean a massive deal on a 4x2 relay. I mean, Netherlands led off with 1:54, and I think the average you need is 1:53.2 to set this world record. I mean, they probably had Femke split 1:50 or something really fast on that world record. But yeah, 3 teams under world record split. It's Canada with, again, quite a serious lead. And they're handing over to Kat Savard, who's, a Cali Condor. She's another versatile swimmer who can be used on these relays. So I don't think it's going to be all Australia's way as they lead. They put Molly O'Callaghan now. Will she make up the difference? I mean, probably. I mean, the Australia...
The second half of it.
Yeah, I was just about to say that the second half of the 200, I think, will be one to watch for Molly.
What do you think about Emma McKeon choosing not to swim this? Like, I mean, she definitely could have swum this.
I mean, I don't know what's she like on a 200. Like, I mean, obviously good, but I don't know. I don't know if they just want to save her for later. If they think the other 4 can do a job.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely used to swim at long course. I'm trying to look. I mean, she's world medalist long course in 2017 200 freestyle. So,
is that Australian team the team that broke the world record at Commies? I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
I can.
Couldn't tell you.
4 times 200. Let me have a little look. So the team was Maddie Wilson, Molly O'Callaghan, and it was Titmus and Kia Melverton. So it's 2 of the team.
So same first half.
Yeah.
I mean, lacking Titmus is probably quite a big hitter to lack. So Australia look like they're about to take the lead in the second now.
Yeah,
catching it.
It's going to be Mary versus Leah Neal on the third leg. Mary split 1:55 this morning, which is solid. I think she's probably got a little more. Leah Neal, I don't think has raced at this meet yet, so a bit more of an uncertainty. But I mean, Molly O'Callaghan's really moved around that last 25. Got a second gap there, and USA still sitting in third.
That was a good takeover then as well for Australia.
Yeah,
that was very good.
Taking loads. I think that's it. That's going to be race done for the win.
I probably wouldn't rule out the Americans. I definitely think they've.
Yeah.
they fight back.
She's going fast, isn't she, the American now?
Yeah, but that's the thing when you're racing a 200, you get too excited in that first half, and it absolutely kills you in the second half, and especially when it comes to short course as well. You don't realize how much those turns and explosivity off the wall really kill your legs.
Yeah, it must be quite tough if you're an American sitting at home and you feel like you could make this team a little better and to a point where they could win. I feel for the team there as well. Like if you're one guy short of maybe being a world champion and you're there, because there's still people on this American team that don't make the long course teams, and this could be their one opportunity to win something as part of a relay. I don't know. I think there's one thing people choosing not to be at the meets, but when there's swimmers in the world, Jamie being one of them that would like to be at a meet, and I don't know, Jamie, you swim the same time you swam the other day, you probably make the semi-final, 50.2. You swim a little faster, you might make the final. And
yeah, and yeah, exactly. And swimming it at that big meet, because like with not being disrespectful to that English nationals, but like Josh Gammon was 51.0, but then third was Ruben, who's a 200 flying 400 IM swimmer, and he was like 52.8, 52.6, something like that. So you're not in that necessarily in that like big head-to-head environment.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Well, yeah, it's a shame. I think yeah, people like me, Matt Richards, Barrett would all love to be there.
Yeah,
I think especially Barrett to just have like with no ISL to have a meet to aim for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the world record's definitely on here. Australia look like they're comfy under it. Let me see what Netherlands had on the last leg, though.
I think USA actually I might be in a bit of trouble of losing that silver to Canada.
Yeah.
So who's that for? Taylor Rook.
Taylor Rook,
Taylor
yeah. I remember a time when okay, so the world record for Netherlands was 154.7, 151. Ranemy swam it, 154.1 on the third leg, and then 152.7 from Sharon van Ruendale, the open water specialist, on the last leg. So at a 152.7, so it's going to probably take a 153 from Lani to win, to get the world record. Sorry, I think Lani will do that. I think this is a world record swim right here. Well, 50 to go, it almost certainly is, isn't it?
Just looking at it.
Yeah.
So I think there's been a world record clean sweep at this meet so far.
Yeah, every relay.
Every relay, yeah. Four out of 4 world records on relays so far, which is pretty cool. Canada are going to beat America. Leah Smith's not having the best meet, is she? Unfortunately.
I suppose we're having an 800 and then a 4x2 at the end.
Yeah, that's a rough session. Well, Canada getting a silver, USA getting the bronze, and Australia getting a world record. And that's the swimming done for the day.
What do you think the best short course 4x2 British team would be? As in people in it, and then how do you think they'd have done in that race?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Are you talking of all time or right now?
No, as in current. If they were to
currently,
yeah, if they were to take.
So you've got
4x2.
Freya, Abby, maybe Freya Colbert. She's swimming pretty well at the moment. And then
say Holly Hibbett
on the good day, yeah, on a good day, Holly Hibbett probably. Or who else? I feel like I'm missing. Maybe like a Lucy Hope.
Yeah.
More of a 100 freestyler.
Lucy's 200. Yeah. Sorry, talking about.
No, I don't think it's challenging any of these 3 teams, though. Unfortunately,
but it's a team that could probably make a final, isn't it?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Yeah.
Which is then again double the relay experience. At least 500 quid a person.
All right, guys. Well, that was the day 2 of finals wrapped up. Any last thoughts, Hannah? Any race of the day or anything specific stood out?
For me, it was actually seeing Adam Peaty race and actually look more like himself and looking really comfortable in control of what he was doing. Much better than what we've seen of him in the 100 at Commies. So it'll be really interesting to see how the final goes.
Jamie?
Yeah, I think Nick Santos, 21.7 again. Crazy. And then I'm looking forward to that 100 free tomorrow.
Yeah.
That'll be a good race.
Right. Well, thanks ever so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you've tuned in, I think we peaked at about 50-something viewers again today. And yeah, Hannah Miley, thanks ever so much. Jamie Ingram, thanks ever so much.
Cheers, Sonny.
Cheers. Thank you.